A black general stood beneath the midday sun, 3 stars glinting across his crisp blue uniform. In a quiet Virginia town barely noted on most maps, 2 local officers shoved that man against a squad car, accusing a decorated war hero of impersonation. What followed wasn't just humiliation, it was a career-ending disaster. One phone call changed everything. The call went straight to the Pentagon. Lieutenant General Marcus Tate, 52, battle-tested and revered, wasn't seeking trouble, only a warm meal. After 6 long hours behind the wheel, Marcus pulled off I-95 into Greystone, a one-light town with a single diner and barely a soul in sight. The Ruby's sign buzzed, half-lit, promising hot food and a short reprieve. Marcus stepped out of a rental sedan, every inch of his appearance sharp, shoulders squared, chest lined with campaign medals. Each ribbon told a story few in this town would ever hear. Inside the diner, heads turned, forks paused in midair. A waitress stopped wiping a table, eyes locked on the silhouette entering through the glass. No words were spoken, but respect filled the air like static. Marcus slid into a booth near the window. The menu was familiar: burgers, fries, black coffee. A text from Sheila appeared on his phone. Just checking in. Another from the Pentagon. Urgent but ignored for now. The burger came. The coffee steamed. For a moment, the general allowed himself to breathe. Out in the lot, 2 officers watched from the shadows of their patrol cruiser. Dale Ramsey, stocky and jaded, narrowed his eyes at the sedan. "Military tags," he said under his breath. "Nice wheels for this side of town." Next to him stood Travis Holt, fresh-faced, fast-talking, always looking to impress. Uniform looks real, but that guy? He's playing dress-up. They didn't call in the plates, didn't check credentials, just assumptions, eager suspicion, quiet prejudice. Inside the diner, Jenny, mid-30s, blonde ponytail, the type who knew her regulars, poured more coffee into Marcus's mug. "You stationed nearby?" she asked, polite curiosity in her tone. Marcus offered a quiet smile. "Just passing through. Got a briefing down south." Jenny nodded, already liking the way he didn't show off. The calm in his voice, the quiet certainty. She said nothing more, but her glance lingered just a second longer. The burger was finished, the plate left spotless. Marcus slid a folded bill under the mug, stood tall, adjusted his tie and walked toward the door. The sunlight hit him full across the face. A breeze drifted in from the highway. One hand went to his pocket for the keys, the other stayed loose, casual, mind already on Fort Bragg. Schedules, timing, objectives. Then it happened. "Hey, you! Don't move!" The voice came sharp, commanding and aggressive. Marcus stopped mid-step. No panic, just focus. Years in war zones had taught one thing: movement could be misread. Breathing could be misread. Marcus turned. A flashlight struck directly across the eyes. Ramsey advanced, boots loud against the pavement. "That's one hell of a costume," Ramsey sneered. "Where'd you get it? Hollywood?" The flashlight beam crawled across each metal like it didn't belong there. Officer Ramsey stared down the uniform with a sneer, eyes locked on the stars like they were stolen. "Mind telling me where a guy like you picked that up?" The tone dripped sarcasm. Less a question, more a challenge. Marcus's jaw tensed, but years of rank and restraint held the voice steady. "This isn't a costume." Lieutenant General Marcus Tate, United States Army Halt, took a slow step around, buzz cut catching the daylight. A smirk tugged at one side of his mouth. "General, huh? Big time. You got ID to match that fantasy?" Marcus gave a slow nod. "Left side. Inside jacket." "My wallet." Ramsey's fingers danced near his holster. "Move slow," he ordered, voice low and sharp. "Real slow." Marcus moved like every second counted. 2 fingers. No sudden gestures. The wallet came out smooth, extended without resistance. Halt snatched it, flipped it open mid-step, and scanned the credentials. Military ID, photo, clearance stripe. Rank confirmed. Everything real. Halt glanced, gave a shrug, and tossed it toward Ramsey. "Could be fake," Ramsey muttered, eyes never leaving Marcus. "You don't look like any general I've seen." The words landed like a slap. Not loud, but deep. Marcus stared him down. "How many black generals have you actually met, Officer Ramsey? Or do I just not fit the image taped inside your locker?" The air thickened. Heat without fire. Motion without sound. Near the diner doors, a couple hovered. Phones out. Recording silently. The tension pulled them in like gravity. Jenny stepped out slowly, arms crossed, expression flat but firm. Her gaze bounced from Marcus to the officers, reading the story without a word. 2 gas station workers across the street leaned on a cart, eyes fixed on the scene. A trucker stopped near his rig, watching from a distance. The street was waking up, not with traffic, but with heat. Ramsey's face didn't show guilt, only rage, the kind born when control starts slipping. "You think you're clever?" Ramsey stepped in, close enough for Marcus to see the moisture gather on his brow. "We're verifying every inch. If you're lying, this ends badly." Marcus didn't blink. "Call Fort Bragg. Ask for Colonel Denise Warren. She'll tell you who I am." Holt scoffed, circling again. "We're not calling your buddies for story time. Hands on the car." Marcus stood tall, voice low. "I'm not resisting, but I won't follow unlawful commands. You have no cause." That was the trigger. Ramsey grabbed Marcus's arm, twisted it behind his back, and slammed the general into the hood of the car. Metal met muscle with a clang. "You want to act tough?" Ramsey hissed. "Let's see how tough you are now." The cuffs bit hard, tight, deliberate, punishing. "Impersonating a federal officer. Resisting. Bet you didn't plan that, General." Holt yanked the cruiser door open, smiling like a man who'd scored a trophy. Marcus didn't yell, didn't move. War-taught silence had weight. But as Ramsey pushed him toward the car, the voice cut clean through the rising heat. "My phone's in my right pocket," Marcus said, the voice steady despite the pressure on his spine. "There's a number in the contacts labeled Pentagon. Call it now, or regret it later." Ramsey scoffed, shoving harder. "Save that bluff for the courtroom." The pressure grew. So did the crowd. Phones were out. Screens glowed. Voices murmured. Tension thickened. Jenny stepped off the curb, voice trembling but firm. "Dale, stop." "He didn't do anything." Ramsey turned sharp, one finger raised, stabbing the air. "Back off, Jenny, or you're next." Jenny froze, breath caught. But she didn't back away. Her eyes locked on Marcus, silently promising, "This won't be forgotten." The cruiser door slammed, steel sealed. The air inside smelled of leather, sweat, and power misused. Through the glass, Marcus caught glimpses. Shocked faces, wide eyes, quiet fury gathering outside. This wasn't just about Marcus anymore. The Greystone police station sat low and square, more like a bunker than a center of law. The walls reeked of bleach and bad decisions. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting greenish halos that made everything feel sick. Inside a holding room, Marcus sat alone, cuffed, chained to a bolted-down table. The dress uniform, once pristine, now bore creases, a dust smear across the left sleeve. But the spine stayed straight, shoulders back, chin high. Power doesn't vanish with cuffs. Discipline doesn't evaporate in a cage. Outside the cell, Ramsey leaned against the doorframe, slurping burnt coffee. Holt scrolled through a department tablet, his grin lazy. "Bet this guy's got a rap sheet a mile long," Holt said, chuckling. "Nobody fakes it this good on the first try." Ramsey laughed, boots scraping the floor like he owned it. "Met a guy once showed up at the VFW in full bird colonel threads. Said it got him free wings. This one's just upgraded the act." Their laughter echoed. Ugly. Self-satisfied. Marcus didn't flinch. His gaze stayed fixed on the wall clock. Red digits glowed. 11:47 p.m. Another second. Another breath. This wasn't the first time credibility had been questioned. At 23, a base guard joked Marcus looked like a recruit wearing his father's jacket. At 38, a Pentagon administrator double-checked his badge like Marcus had broken in. Every time, the answer was patience. Not surrender, just focus. Let truth slice where anger couldn't. Tonight would be no different. The door opened. Hinges whined like they hadn't been oiled in a decade. Chief Ed Callahan entered slowly, the kind of slow reserved for exhaustion. Wrinkled shirt, sagging eyes, mustache like cobwebs. In one hand, Callahan held Marcus's wallet. The other rubbed tired eyes. Callahan squinted at the ID, flipped it over. Then again. "Says here you're a 3-star general," the chief muttered. "That right? Or we all just wasting oxygen tonight?" Marcus locked eyes with the man. "Lieutenant General Marcus Tate," the voice answered. Full name, full weight. "Joint Special Operations Command." A pause. "It's all true." Callahan looked at the ID again, then at Ramsey. The chief's brow tightened. "You boys run this through?" Ramsey gave a shrug like it didn't matter. Guy refused to follow orders, tried to get cute. Marcus didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. What I refused was illegal detainment. What I offered was verification. And what I received was assault. The room went quiet. Not from guilt, but from something else. The beginning of consequence. He was mouthy. Didn't cooperate, Ramsey muttered. Something's off. Nobody drives a rental looking like that. Marcus leaned forward, the chain at his wrist scraping the metal table. The voice dropped lower, sharper than steel. Not cooperating? The words sliced the room. I handed over ID. Told your officers who to call. Stayed composed while they humiliated me in public and slammed me against a car like a criminal. The pause that followed felt like a held breath. The only thing that's off here is your judgment, Marcus said, tone flattening into finality. And every second you let this continue, your liability multiplies. Chief Callahan rubbed the back of his neck, jaw twitching, caught between loyalty and fallout. His eyes dropped back to the ID, then flicked to Marcus's unbroken stare. A sigh escaped. One call, the chief muttered. But if this turns out to be a game, you're not walking out of here tonight. Callahan slid a cracked desk phone across the table, its cord curled and tangled like everything else in the room. Marcus didn't reach for it. Not yet. The gaze shifted to Ramsey and Holt. Their smirks had vanished, replaced by stiff silence. Put it on speaker, Marcus said. You'll all want to hear this. Callahan pressed the buttons slowly, each tone ringing like a warning bell. The line connected with a static click. Office of the Deputy Secretary, came a clipped professional voice. Marcus didn't hesitate. This is Lieutenant General Marcus Tate. I need Secretary Elaine Hargrove. Priority 1. A beat. Then immediate response. Yes, sir. Connecting. Ramsey scoffed, but the sound withered halfway. The next voice through the speaker hit like thunder. Marcus! Where the hell are you? Elaine Hargrove's voice boomed. Sharp, precise, filled with enough command to flip the air in the room. No warm-up, no questions, just force. Marcus answered with full control. Greystone, Virginia. Detained by local PD. Accused of impersonating. Cuffed. No probable cause. I need this resolved now. Silence followed, but it wasn't peace. It was pressure building in the walls. Then came the detonation. Who am I speaking to? Hargrove demanded. Callahan swallowed, hands trembling slightly. Ed Callahan, ma'am. Police chief. No delay. No breath. Chief Callahan, Hargrove snapped. You've got a special operations general shackled in a holding room. A man whose classified reports crossed the president's desk. A man responsible for missions your entire department couldn't even imagine. Her voice sliced deeper. You arrested him. For what? Being black in uniform? Because your officers can't read military ID? No one spoke. Release him. Immediately. Or I'm dispatching MPs from Fort Bragg and putting your governor on a midnight call. Is that clear enough? The silence was deafening. Callahan's lips parted. Nothing came out. Ramsey looked down, face ghost pale. The coffee cup in his hand trembled. Holt backed up against the wall like a teenager caught in the act, eyes wide with panic. Callahan's hand shot up, waving like a man drowning. Get those cuffs off. Now! Holt scrambled, keys slipping from fumbling fingers, clattering against the floor. He cursed under his breath, knelt, and popped the cuffs open with stiff, shaking hands. The steel fell, hard against the table. Marcus stood, slowly, deliberately, wrists sore. Arms relaxed. No gloating, just presence. The gaze swept the room. Not fury, just finality. Eyes landed on Ramsey last. The authority in Marcus's voice lingered like smoke, thick in the stale air. Callahan, Ramsey, Holt, all three stood smaller than before, shrunk by the weight of consequence. Callahan cleared his throat, hand shaking slightly as he extended the wallet. General, we're sorry. This was a mistake. A bad one. Marcus accepted the wallet without flinching. The tone came quiet, but deadly. A mistake is mispronouncing someone's name. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. Then came the cut. This was a decision. You chose to dismiss my ID. You chose to question my rank. You looked at me, and you didn't see truth. You saw threat. Because I didn't match your image of authority. The stare didn't waver. That's not a mistake, Chief. That's a failure. And it belongs to you. Marcus turned. Walked out. The station door groaned on its hinges, then slammed shut like the closing of a case. Outside, the sky had cooled. Stars blinked sharp above, but heat still burned across Marcus's chest. Not rage. Not anymore. Something heavier. The kind of ache that comes with living the same moment over and over again. Marcus climbed into the sedan, the hum of the engine offering a weak comfort. The road stretched south, and the tires followed without thought. His mind stayed behind. Ramsey's spit-laced fury. Halt's grin. Jenny's shaking voice. The weight of steel around his wrists. The phone buzzed. Colonel Warren. Sheila. Brothers in arms. But Marcus let it ring. Not now. Not yet. By morning, Greystone wasn't quiet anymore. The diner parking lot, the patrol car, the scuffle. Ramsey's hand on Marcus's neck. Halt's laughter. Marcus's calm voice. All of it lived again. In clips. In hashtags. In outrage. TikTok caught fire. Instagram lit up. Twitter boiled over. Justice for Marcus. General Tate. This is America. The views climbed by the minute. Millions by sunrise. By noon, Ruby's diner wasn't feeding customers. It was feeding the nation. Locals spilled into booths with strangers. Reporters filled corners. Cameras rolled. Jenny stood behind the counter like it was a pulpit. "I told Dale to stop," she said to anyone who asked. "That man was respectful, quiet, a soldier, and they threw him against a car like he was garbage. For what? His skin?" Eyes burned. Voice steady. Jenny had nothing to hide. By lunchtime, CNN picked it up. MSNBC by evening. Even right-wing networks ran it, spinning their narratives but unable to erase the truth. A black general, a decorated war hero, treated like a criminal for simply existing. The streets of Greystone swelled. Protesters outside the station waved signs. "See us, don't cuff us. Service deserves respect." Not everyone agreed. A handful of locals grumbled behind drawn blinds, muttering about law and order. A few held up flags that meant something different now, but their voices were drowned in the tide. Ramsey didn't leave the house. Windows shut. Phone silenced. Curtains closed. Halt's old social posts resurfaced. Angry rants. Racial slurs dressed up as opinions. Talk of thugs and freeloaders. Screenshots spread like oil on water. The outrage only deepened. The Pentagon didn't wait. Elaine Hargrove picked up the phone that night and called the Virginia Attorney General directly. No press conference, just one sentence. "You let it happen. Now fix it." A full federal audit dropped on Greystone PD like a hammer. Within 48 hours, the Department of Defense's Inspector General launched a sweeping review. Not just of Marcus's case, but of racial profiling against black service members nationwide. Reports rolled in from installations coast to coast. Encounters dismissed. Incidents buried. Marcus never sought headlines. Never needed applause. But when the spotlight found him, he didn't flinch. He once told a young major in Kandahar, "You don't fight for yourself. You fight so the one behind you doesn't bleed where you did." That day came full circle. Ramsey and Halt's careers collapsed overnight. Suspended by morning. Under investigation by noon. By sundown, their entire records were under forensic review. Dozens of complaints long ignored now screamed off the page. Profiling. Brutality. Misconduct swept under carpets. The carpet was gone now. Then came the body cam leak. Unedited. Unforgiving. Ramsey's voice rang out in pure venom. "Just another wannabe in a costume." Halt's response. Ugly laughter. Cold. Confident. Enjoying it. That recording hit the public like gasoline. Protests ignited again. Richmond. D.C. college campuses. Military families. Crowds lifted signs with Marcus's face. Jaw set. Uniform crisp. Not just a man anymore. Now a symbol. When Marcus arrived at Fort Bragg, the gate guard stood straighter than usual. Salutes hit faster. Respect came sharper. Colonel Denise Warren met him at the entrance. Arms wide. Eyes wet. Her hug was quick but firm. "You okay, sir?" she asked, searching his expression. Marcus nodded. Half smiled. "Takes more than 2 bad cops to break me." The briefing room was packed. Drones, budget proposals, strategic shifts. But the air had changed. Every eye lingered longer. Every question carried new weight. When the meeting ended, a young black lieutenant waited by the exit, nervous. "Sir, how do you keep going?" The voice was soft, hesitant. "After what happened?" Marcus paused. Really looked at the young man. Saw the younger version of himself. Hungry, driven, raw. "You don't just keep going," Marcus said. "You carve out space. You push until they see you, not their fear of you." A beat. Every step you take becomes a path for someone else. Never forget that. Back in Greystone, hiding was no longer an option. Chief Callahan called for a town hall. The high school gym overflowed. Folding chairs squeaked. Fans spun uselessly overhead. Heat pressed down like judgment. Jenny live-streamed everything. Camera steady, voice silent but present. Callahan took the mic, his face hollowed by sleepless nights. "We failed," he said. "Failed General Tate. Failed this town." A pause. "I'm resigning, and leadership will change." The crowd erupted. Cheers tangled with jeers. Applause drowned by shouts. "What about Ramsey? Who covers this damage? Where's justice?" Then a pastor rose. Elderly, composed. A soft suit and steady gaze. "This isn't about one resignation," the voice carried. "This is about learning to see, to listen, to change." The room quieted, and for the first time in weeks, Greystone listened. If we can't start seeing each other, as soldier, neighbor, human, then when? That's what the pastor said. The words echoed long after the town hall ended. Marcus didn't attend. Didn't need to. Jenny called weeks later. Her voice was different. Brighter, sure of itself. "They're retraining the whole department, sir. Ramsey's out. Holt's stuck filing reports in some basement office. But more than that, people are talking, like really talking." Marcus smiled, the image forming clearly. Jenny behind the counter at Ruby's, apron on, coffee pot in hand, heart still in the fight. "You did good, Jenny," Marcus said quietly. "Better than you realize." He never returned to Greystone. Didn't need to. The story didn't belong to him anymore. It had spread, grown, become part of something bigger. It now belonged to every soul who'd ever been judged on sight. Every voice cut short, every truth dismissed because of skin or silence. At Fort Bragg, Marcus began mentoring a young black captain. Sharp uniform, sharper mind, but eyes that darted too quickly, like she was waiting to be challenged. "They'll test me," she admitted one evening, voice low. Marcus nodded. "Let them. You're not passing through. You're building something permanent, so build it proud, and build it tall." Time passed, but Greystone's shift left marks. Ramsey disappeared from the public eye. Even his drinking buddies kept their distance. Holt left town for good, his name too bitter to speak in public without stirring tension. A new chief took the reins. A woman from Philly with a zero-tolerance stance and no patience for excuses. She rewrote the department from the inside out. Bias training, civilian review boards, school programs that taught kids about service and sacrifice, community sessions led by those who'd been silenced too long. Marcus didn't track every new policy, but he felt the echoes. The ripple from one night had become a tide. One evening, Sheila handed him her phone. "This is blowing up," she said. The image was simple. Marcus, standing outside Ruby's, hand in his pocket, head tilted in thought. The caption read, "Heroes don't bend." Marcus chuckled, shaking his head. But Sheila held his hand tighter. "They see you now." Marcus nodded slowly. Let them. His mind drifted to a memory of his father. Vietnam vet, battle-scarred, proud, often silent but never weak. The old man once told him, "Hold your fire, son. It burns brighter that way." And Marcus had. The cuffs, the cold steel hood. Ramsey's spit-laced sneer. They didn't fade, but they didn't break him either. Scars stayed. Not wounds, reminders. But other memories stuck too. Jenny's voice, refusing to back down. Hargrove's fire through a speaker. Sheila's grip. And millions of strangers. People who saw not a threat, not a statistic, but a man. A soldier. A symbol of what needed to change. Greystone was just one battle. The war was still raging. But that night, Marcus had won. Not with fists, not with fury, with truth. So here's the truth, for anyone watching. Anyone who's ever been sized up, dismissed, told to know their place. You belong. You matter. Walk like the ground beneath you recognizes your name. Live like your light can't be dimmed by anyone. And if this story moved you, if it stirred something, made you mad or proud, then don't let it sit. Share it. Comment. Subscribe. Because this isn't just about one man in a uniform. It's about the unseen, the unbreakable, the ones who force the world to see what it's been too afraid to look at for far too long.